Hello and welcome to the Crypto Club and Digital Assets Weekly Catch-Up on Zoom. It is Sunday, the 16th of July, 2023. And as is always the case with these sessions, we're going to be talking about whatever appeals to the audience. Some weeks we talk about blockchain, crypto, DeFi, NFTs, ICOs, STOs, TGEs, any other three-letter acronym really, or we delve into the world of metaverses, real estate, tokenization, or whatever. We hold these sessions every Sunday evening, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. UK time, and they're open to everybody, novice and expert alike. We also try to have pitch sessions, gone in 3 minutes, as I describe it, where people have got 180 seconds to talk about their product or service. It's not for shilling or scamming or anything like that. It is just for people to talk about projects they're working. So I hope you enjoy this session. We do record these and put them onto YouTube, so do subscribe, like, even better, come along to a future event. So with that, let's see who's going to come and join us today. Hey, Gabriella.
Hello.
Hey, hello there. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you back again.
Good to see you back again. Because last Sunday you was busy, really?
That's right. Unfortunately, there was a different event on and I couldn't make it last week. So we're back to normal this week.
I missed you.
So are you keeping occupied and interested in the crypto world at the moment?
Yes. Years ago, Gary. Years ago, and I start learn by myself. But it's true that I need, of course, to do networking, and it will be a help, the possibility to be part and work in a crypto project, or to know more how is everything developing, because this is every day is a world so fast. So every day, every minute is something new. So
yeah. And I was going to say, I find it fascinating. Did you say a couple of weeks ago that you're working on some Web3 things or something?
Me?
Was that not you? Okay.
No.
So remind me again where your interest is.
In cryptocurrency and blockchain.
Okay.
So I don't tell you anything too much about me, but I'm just a very curious, and I embrace all this new technology from years ago alone. So, and I need another point of view. I need to be part of a project to know how everything is developing. And I don't know, do you want to mean, or?
I think so, because it's interesting that, as you say, there are so many things happening in this space. It's difficult to keep up to speed, but it is interesting to try and work on particular projects that get you interested.
Exactly. So maybe you could advise me about that. How can I be part of a project of, I don't know, because I am learning continuously, but I need, I need to share my skills and expertise and continue growth. So
So I typically suggest to people there are two things that they need to think about, or two things that will have an influence in some way. The first thing is, first of all, the geography. So where are they based? Because sometimes it can be convenience if you're in a capital city, for example. Most big cities have got crypto groups, crypto communities, crypto companies that you can engage with in some way. And then the second is, what is your current area of expertise, whether you are using that in an organization already, or you're learning or developing. So I don't know, are you doing something that isn't crypto related at the moment, perhaps?
Learning. Yes, but I learn and I am custodian about Bitcoin. So for this, I learned by myself a lot. Of course, I with Michael Saylor.
Okay.
Yes, with too much entrepreneurs. So webinars. It is so read books, be part of this type of meetings, but I need more, and I will like more. So this is my ambition and my objective, and I'm focused on that.
Great. Okay. So whereabouts are you based, Gabriela? Is it Spain, you were saying?
Yes, I'm based in Madrid, but it's true that I have no limits on to be part or work here. Or you are based on London, right?
Yeah. But these days, whilst geography can be important, the great thing about Zoom and Teams and that kind of thing is that it becomes less important quite quickly. So so the reason I say that geography can be useful at the beginning is because you find that quite often there are groups who meet up. So London is certainly a great thing. Berlin's got a lot of crypto groups. Paris has got some that I know of. We've got Elena who's just joined us, who could probably offer an opinion from the Irish perspective, because there are some Irish blockchain and crypto type groups as well. So for Madrid, I think there was a big crypto conference, or there was a big blockchain conference on in Madrid last week, wasn't there?
Last week, yes, 2 days,
Yeah.
2 days, yes.
Yeah, because I know somebody who was presenting at that. So sometimes if you can get to events like that and hear about who's working on what and that kind of thing, that can be a way of getting into it. Well, I don't know, Elena, maybe you could offer some thoughts of how are you finding trying to connect in with like blockchain communities or crypto communities? Any luck?
In my experience, going online is the best way.
Me too. I believe.
If you just start joining Zoom meetings, it may lead to new connections, and yeah, that's what I would recommend.
Yeah. The other thing, Gabriela, I guess I tend to use LinkedIn a lot, because I find that's a great way of sharing my connecting with people, and then finding people who know people. So I don't know if you have a LinkedIn profile that you're able to share, but that can certainly be a good way of building up your network. And then actually posting on LinkedIn as well. I find that my network has grown quite nicely, because I sometimes post articles about news and developments in the crypto world, and then people make replies and I get in touch with them, and it grows from there.
Okay, thank you.
So that can be quite a useful one, certainly. And in a minute, I'll share my LinkedIn details in the chat, and you're welcome to connect with me.
Thank you very much.
And sometimes it might be that people know people type thing, and then they can start reaching out. So for anybody who's watching this on YouTube, for example, afterwards, any particular areas that interest you, where if someone was to get in touch and say, hey, we're working on a project, we'd like to know if you'd be interested. What are you looking at? Any particular types of project you're interested in, or just generally?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Yes, about Bitcoin or cryptos, or I don't know exactly which projects can I be part of.
Okay, because what I find,
maybe startups,
yeah.
fintech. No, maybe do you sector about fintech or health?
Yeah. No. So that's the interesting thing. When you start looking at things like health, that's where blockchain stuff can be really interesting. So things like patient records or pharmaceutical records. There are companies that are doing research on projects around that. And in terms of fintech, yeah, a lot of banks, a lot of companies are getting interested in what crypto means for them, what CBDCs, even though they're not crypto, but are quite similar, how they can plug into those and that kind of thing. So there's certainly things on that. The reason I was asking in a particular area is because it can be that there are so many things that so many startups are working on that it can be useful to just get a feeling for what is your comfort zone, either because you've previously worked in that industry, so you've got some experience, or it's just something that interests you. So 2 weeks ago, for example, we had Grant on, and Grant is working on space, as in, above the Earth's atmosphere, and they're working on a proposition around space assets using blockchain, for example, which is quite a niche area.
Oh,
Then a couple of weeks ago, we had someone on who works for a crypto exchange in Abu Dhabi. So his area of interest is obviously on crypto trading. We had, was it Jeremy a few weeks ago? They run a algorithm platform that uses AI for prediction pricing around cryptos. So there are so many areas that you could potentially get into.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But certainly connect on LinkedIn, write articles on LinkedIn, that can be quite good. Read what other people are saying. And if there's something that is of interest, then that's good. I'm also in a WhatsApp group, which is called, if you bear with me, Get Your Team, which is around Web3 and crypto projects, where they're mainly looking at startups and they're looking for team members and investors and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that could be the kind of thing as well. WhatsApp and Telegram is a really good source for finding things out like that, and also Discord and Reddit, which are two platforms I don't use so much, but they again can be quite good for finding out about companies who need people.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a few suggestions for you to begin with.
Thank you very much. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And as I say, maybe if anyone's watching this video afterwards and they say, "Oh, we're looking for somebody in Spain who knows about crypto," then they can get in touch with me, I guess, and I can try and get your details. Or if you share your LinkedIn profile, they can get in touch with you directly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
So there's a couple of ideas certainly to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And it may be another advice to learn and grow more in this world.
So it depends what level you want to go to. So
I don't know what level. How can I see my level? So is that just for this? I told you before.
Yeah.
I need, and I would like to be part of a project because I don't know my level.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So in terms of learning, it depends just how deep you want to go. So as an example, there's a really good course that Elena has done and I've done, which is a free online course with the University of Nicosia. Mm-hmm. And it's called an Introduction to Digital Currencies. So I think if you just Google Introduction to Digital Currencies, University of Nicosia, and they run it every few months as what is called a MOOC. So that's a massive online course. That goes into a real level of detail around how cryptocurrencies work, how mining works, how wallets work, how crypto security works, how signatures of transactions work. So that can be really, really useful as background. So that's a course I can thoroughly recommend because it goes into a lot of detail. and you have an exam at the end, and you can pass the exam, that kind of thing.
Yes,
And the great thing, as I say, is it's free. So that's
yes,
quite good.
I am doing too. I am doing this type of courses, exams. I am doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then the other area, which is a little less deep probably, is the training that the likes of Binance provide. So a lot of the exchanges like Binance actually have learning academies where you can learn more about crypto. The great thing, if I remember correctly, about Binance Academy is that as you are learning and you're doing the various modules, you can also earn crypto from it. So I think that they pay you in, on Binance's case, I think they pay you in BNB, which is the Binance coin. And it means that if you go through the course and you learn various things, they actually reward you with a small amount of crypto in return. So it's kind of nice that you're being paid a small amount to actually learn.
Okay.
So that's one I'd certainly recommend. And then there are other training courses as well, but typically you tend to pay for those, I think. I don't know, Elena, again, maybe we can lean on you. Have you done any other training things or anything you can recommend?
No, I haven't. What I can recommend is to find some nice, reliable news website in blockchain and come back to it regularly, ideally every day.
Yeah, because certainly there are many things happening in this area. The problem I tend to find is that a lot of the news sites get so entailed in the price movements that they talk less about the actual developments in cryptocurrencies and blockchain. So Cointelegraph can be quite good, just to find out the latest news of things going on. I tend to subscribe to Telegram channels that give me like 1 minute updates. There's a website called The Block, which has some quite good updates in it as well, but I tend to look all over the place. Well, Elena's right. Try and keep up to date with news and developments as well.
Okay.
So hopefully a few things to go away with and pick up on.
Me too. Thank you.
But certainly I can definitely recommend, if you want to do some fairly serious study behind cryptocurrencies, then the University of Nicosia course, because it's a feed into their master's degree, so that they use it as a way of getting people to actually sign up for a full degree course. But the introduction is free and it's really good and really detailed level. That's good. And as I say,
Nicosia?
Nicosia in Cyprus.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So if you just go into a search engine and do Introduction to Digital Currencies, University of Nicosia, and I think they have it. In fact, it looks like Elena's Googling it or something now.
I'm trying to find it.
Excellent. Thank you. So we'll see if Elena can find the link and maybe she can post it in the chat.
Thank you.
The pressure's on.
Oh, no. Maybe I'll take my time, and when I find it, I'll share it. Okay.
Okay, that's good. So hopefully some suggestions for you, Gabriella, on ways of finding things out. The other thing as well is I tend to use meetup.com quite a lot. Meetup.com. So meetup.com is a website that has got lots and lots of groups about all sorts of things. And it's kind of funny because when I speak to organizations about meetup.com, they think it's a dating website. And it does have some dating groups in it. But it's actually about connecting people with similar interests. And so I run, I've got a group called Books Crypto Club, which is run on Meetup, and that's part of it, what this session's about. I run another group called Blockchain and Digital Assets Meetup. That is, again, sometimes some of its members come to this group as well. But meetup.com, you can type in what area you are based in and what your area of interest is, and it comes up with loads and loads of groups. So you could just do like Crypto Madrid, something like that, and then you'd find if there's any meetup groups. I found meetup groups are a really good way of finding other people in this space who you can then learn from. So hopefully that's another useful one.
Me too. Thank you very much.
No problem. In fact, I'll post a link.
I need more action, not just learn. I need action. So feel that I can develop myself and my knowledge in crypto and to know really what is my level.
Yeah.
And which way I feel I want to follow. So
well, here you go. No problem. So Elena just shared the link in the chat to this, which is the University of Nicosia blockchain program on digital currency. So the next one starts in about 2 months by the look of it, on 25th of September. And it's got the details, which I'm just sharing here, where it talks about what it is that they teach and who it is that's teaching it and some background. But I can certainly recommend signing up for that class, and it's all online. It's taught to quite a high level of detail, and there's a lot of course material that goes with it as well. I found it a good course.
How much is it?
It's free.
It's free? Okay.
Yeah. So this is it. They're still doing it as free, and it's I think it's a 12 or a 13-week course where 12 weeks in fact, where you attend each week on a live session, and they do a recording of it as well. And I found that pretty useful.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Elena.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, and in fact, it looks like there's another one I didn't know, that decentralized finance. So
yes.
Let me just pop that one up as well.
And we might have a look at the third one after that.
Okay. You're finding them all out. Thank you. Meanwhile, JT's joined us. Hey, JT.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
So it looks like Nicosia now do a free decentralized finance course. Next one starts 20th of November. So here we go. Yeah, we've got decentralized finance. So hopefully that's up on screen now. So 20th of November.
This is the other one, no?
Yep. So that's the second one. Again, it's with University of Nicosia.
1, 2, 3. Okay. Open Metaverse. Okay, the second one, DeFi. Okay.
So that one's free. And then, Elena, did you say there was a third one? Oh, the Metaverse.
The Metaverse.
This is great fun. There we go. NFTs and the Metaverse, an intro course to NFTs and Metaverse. Fantastic. And what is
this? Degree?
It's University of Nicosia. They do introductory courses. And Elena and I have both done the introduction to digital currencies. And they're free online courses. They kind of feed us into their degree course. And they're usually about 12 weeks long and usually well worth joining in. So just trying to find out when it says view course schedule. Okay. So the first one starts beginning of October, the 3rd of October. So it might be worthwhile signing up for that. So yeah, I can recommend these courses because they are kind of university degree level, but free to attend because they use them as a feeder into their master's degree. Elena, thanks for sharing those. That's really useful.
Yeah, no, thank you very much.
Yeah. So JT, what's new in the world?
I've been a bit disconnected with a lot of stuff, I'm doing all my project, as you know. Yeah. So, God, I think this last week was pretty much what we saw about the SEC, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Ripple and all of that stuff. But once again, in my opinion, what we've seen is just people pumping again XRP, and then it came down again, and it's just usual market reactions and manipulation to try to bring people, and then they sell the tokens to people that they bought quite cheap. Happened so many times, I think it happened again.
Exactly, and certainly I was watching with interest. So we're just discussing with Gabriella about suggestions about how she can learn more about projects and companies and education. That's why we're talking about next year and that. But yeah, in terms of news, then definitely the SEC versus Ripple court case with the initial judgment from Judge Torres certainly set the crypto world alight last week, when the judge determined that in some ways, some of what XRP is, so XRP is the cryptocurrency from Ripple, that in some circumstances it's not a security, and in some circumstances it is. And so the crypto community as a whole got very excited by that. And if I just grab the crypto prices, I'll show you how fast they kind of changed. Again, I'll share this in a moment. So I've forgotten when the exact announcement came out, but you can all have a guess if I share the screen. So XRP has been trading around about the 50 cents mark for a while. And then all of a sudden, boom, went from 40, just over 46 cents, leapt up. It didn't actually get up to 93 cents in realistically. It got to about 80, 81 cents, and that now settled down. So it kind of almost doubled with the initial judgment being issued, which will be subject to what the SEC is going to decide next. So they might decide to dispute it. They might take it to the Supreme Court. We really don't know yet. So meanwhile, yeah, XRP, lots of FOMO, so fear of missing out, with loads of people piling in. At the same time, which there's probably a load of people breathing a sigh of relief that the prices have gone back to what they were originally.
Probably was also some of the exchanges that delisted and exited. Yeah, they also bought and got in again,
Yep.
That could well be, So but nobody knows what's going to happen, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure the SEC is going to appeal. I don't see any other way, know. And we've seen a few lawyers on Twitter. There was lots of links, as you remember, flying around, but there was a few opinions that the case actually for Ripple is actually quite weak, So that got me thinking, and I think you remember I posted it on a few groups as well. That got me thinking. I don't think she wanted the judge. She didn't really want to take a side, because she kind of did a judgment. I would call it politically correct judgment, if you could say that. Yeah, it's because we know the laws are not really straightforward. Otherwise, we wouldn't be all in this situation, right? So it could be led to different interpretations, even, by different people. Including, of course, judges, So in my opinion, she didn't want to damage retail, because obviously if she was against Ripple, a lot of people lose a lot of money, and there was a lot of retail that bought a lot of XRP, if you remember well. Yeah, so, and she didn't really want to damage completely the company, as well, So she came up with a judgment. Yes, okay, it's a security for institutions, for Ripple selling the tokens to institutions, because they knew they should know before they buy it, because that's what they do. What they were buying. In terms, and that creates more more confusion, because then there was a few things that she came out on the court judgment that was, hey, it's not a security for retail that we're buying on secondary market,
Yep.
And that even confused more people. How can it be a security but not be a security? You know what I mean, right? I don't get it.
I actually read the court judgment when it was issued, and I went through it, and eventually I just skipped to the end, which was the final decision.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, so in the case of SEC arguing that the programmatic element, which was the issuing to institutions, as you say, then yes, that was held as it is a security. But in the case where it was the secondary markets, as you say, the retail side, then it was dismissed that it was a security. And I had to read through all of that several times. So the end result for those who aren't at the legal opinion level, just what does it mean to everybody, is it means that the exchanges, so that the likes of Coinbase, Kraken, all the others, that they were concerned that if XRP was determined to be a security, then they would be potentially in violation of security selling rules. So that's why they delisted it. With Judge Torres's announcement, that paves the way for XRP to not be a security, and therefore they're not at risk of being prosecuted for selling securities. So that's why they've relisted them, which is kind of good.
But it's so weird, because if you think well about this, what Judge Torres put on the conclusion, it's the same. If you think well, let's say people start to issue shares, share options, whatever, and then you issue to institutions, but then those institutions, or whoever you are selling or given, are going to set up an exchange, and they're going to sell them. What's going to happen? It's a secondary market. It's not a security anymore. The shares are always going to be securities, so because they were sold, as securities, it doesn't matter how you list them on secondary market and if there is retail coming to buy them or not. And that's what I think the SEC and their lawyers are probably going to appeal against that. And I think they might win, because they were going to give this example. If somebody buys shares and you're going to list it on secondary market on some dodgy exchange, that somebody starts and retail start to buy what? It's not a security anymore? Of course it is. Yeah,
but
so
that was
the principle is wrong, in my opinion. They should go more like for the oranges. What is the contract? Is the actual thing? It doesn't matter. The shares is also what? A piece of paper that says you own something. There's a physical thing there.
So I think that was actually exactly what she ruled on, because she took a look at, for those who are watching or listening, there's a thing in the US called the Howey test. And the Howey test is based on a court case from, I think it's over 100 years ago now, which was it in Orange Grove or something?
Oranges, yeah.
It was oranges. And it was used as a test as to whether something that is offered for sale fulfilled sufficient criteria for it to be deemed as a security. So as an example, a shirt. And there's a whole set of thresholds and tests that you have to pass in order for something to be deemed a security, such as you've purchased something with a reasonable expectation it's going to increase in value, that the value is going to increase as a result of the management who are behind it, as opposed to it being purely random. And I can't remember all the other things, but I think there's 5 or 6 individual tests within the Howey test. And I think what Judge Torres kind of illustrated was that when it's a retail customer, so that's a consumer, you or I or whatever in domestic markets. When we buy and sell crypto tokens on an exchange, we don't necessarily know about what it is that's behind that crypto token. So we don't necessarily know the management, although hopefully we've read the white paper and checked the white, that kind of thing. And the company doesn't know the individual who's putting the money in. So therefore, it kind of failed some of the tests, or this is my interpretation of what judgment was. Whereas for institutional investors, they do check all of these things about who the management is, what the plan is, and therefore they did buy it and it fulfilled all the criteria of the Harry test. So it's a bit weird, as you say, it's a bit like whether it's the orange is the contract and so the security, or whether it's the wrapper that's around it. The way I'm thinking of it at the moment, it's a little bit like tomatoes. Tomatoes are in fact a fruit, but you don't have them in a fruit salad.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. That's why it's confusing for everyone. And I don't think this is over, I don't really think this is over. And if you think about what a stock is, is your participation on something. That something is the ownership of something, right? Yeah, when you buy a token, you're participating on something, that it's owned by a company as well, So it now, or it, on some of them like Bitcoin, when it's not a security, then of course, it's not owned by anyone, Which let's not go to that because we understand that, But the thing here was that those tokens were pre-mined, by Ripple. So it's not even pre-mined, issued. If you remember well how it was, they basically just generated, it was a function that they created, just generated all of that. Nobody was mining that, And then they saw them, it's the same thing as selling stocks, Now.
So I'm going to quickly suggest that it isn't, and I'm going to give you a reason for that. Because I've come across this a few times with people who buy crypto tokens and they keep calling themselves investors because they've invested in a token. And I keep saying that that's a little bit like going to a vending machine and getting a can of Coke, and you get several cans of Coke. That does not mean you are investing in Coke. It means you're investing in cans of Coke in the hope of reselling them. And I think that, exactly. And I think you could argue the same for consumers who are buying XRP, that they are buying XRP for the intent of making money out of XRP increasing in value simply because of the market, not because of the company behind it. And I think that's the subtle distinction between the two. So as I keep saying, all because you bought a can of Coke doesn't mean you've got an investment. It's not like having a share in Coca-Cola.
Yeah, but I don't disagree with you, But what I'm saying is they were selling to people, not as, hey, we have a token. This token has a utility on our platform, and utility is X, Y, and Z. That's not how they were selling it, And we know that. That's why she made the judgment and said, these were investment contracts they were selling to all these people. The point here, which was the second point, where she said, in the secondary market, and this is where I disagree, because, and I think this is, I read quite a few comments from a few solicitor lawyers, and this is where I think it's going to, Ripple might lose, because when you're actually doing the same type of contracts and is a stock or something else, whatever security it is, later on, if somebody creates a secondary market that is not a stock exchange like New York or London, whatever, and it starts to sell them as non-securities, it doesn't stop those tokens from being securities, because that's how they were sold initially, They were still securities, Now, if there was a mix of tokens sold as non-securities and securities by Ripple, then the problem will be even more complex, But I don't think that happened, because I think all the tokens they did initially was actually, I don't know anybody that mines XRP tokens. There's no such thing as mining XRP tokens, right? Because that's not what the network does.
As you say, they were all pre-mined, weren't they? Or minted or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the big problem, for them. And you could argue the same initially about Ethereum. I've been looking at initially how was Ethereum created. They actually got a bunch of tokens, and this is going to be even more complex with Ethereum, I think. And I think they're going to go after them at some point, But for the moment, I think that the argument from Judge Torres about the second part, it's quite flawed, and it could be exploited by the SEC solicitors, So I don't think this is over, to be honest,
I agree, and I think that's where there is the potential that they may consider that they've got a sufficient argument to take it to the Supreme Court to review the judgment.
That's what I thought, because he didn't really take a side because he was going to damage the two sides, retail and non-retail. And I think it's just really sending a message and say, hey, Mr. Congress, Mrs. Congresswoman and man, we need a law.
Yeah,
so we can direct us,
I think you're right, because I think what she actually did with the judgment was not political. I think she did a very good job from a legal perspective of basically said, well, here's the legal position. Yeah. And as you can see, it's a bit muddy. And so that kind of gives the justification really for it to go further up. Yeah. And for the Supreme Court.
My word of using political was probably the wrong word to say.
Yeah. Right. No, it's fair, because I think from what I read, she took a great deal of trouble to define things very, very clearly as well as they could, but also used that to demonstrate how it was questionable in some ways. So originally I thought there was going to be an out-of-court settlement for pre-trial in some way, but because some of it won't now go to trial, you've now got a judgment, and if that goes to the Supreme Court, that then you will have new regulation, new law, or whatever. If it doesn't, then that actually leaves it open for another court case, potentially.
Yeah, and if you think really well about the implications of this, Gary, when you say this is a security, but then you say actually it's not a security for retail, because retail didn't know they were buying a security. Now, people didn't know is one thing, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I agree with the statement. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about that. People didn't really know they were buying securities. It doesn't remove the fact that it was actually a security. Yeah. The intentions of people and how they bought things, is one thing. The actual thing being a security or not, and this is, I think, where the judgment kind of is a bit flawed, And of course, you're right. I think she took a lot of time to think, hey, I don't know. She probably thought, I don't know how to judge these. There's no laws that are clear about these. So she thought, I'm not going to damage. I'm going to do the best that I can with what the laws I have, And she did, I agree with you. She did actually quite a good job, but it's not a definite, absolutely not a definite judgment. Because it's going to go to court now, and it will be an appeal for the rest, for the other half, So, anyway,
it's going to be interesting. So it certainly means it was interesting. You noticed the way I showed on the chart before that XRP nearly doubled in price, and XLM, which is a completely unrelated cryptocurrency, but it runs on a completely different blockchain, run by a different organization. That also went up. I think it doubled in price, possibly more, which I suspect was partly because it started with the letter X and people probably got mixed up, and partly because it's what's known as an ISO 20022.
It's easier than that, Gary.
Yeah, go on then. Yeah.
So Jed McCaleb was the XRP CTO and founder. One of the founders. Okay. So, and he's the guy who created XLM. Okay, Stellar. So Stellar is a clone of the Ripple ledger.
Right. Okay.
Yeah? So it's literally the guy took a clone and just recreated with a different name, but then what he built on the top was a bit different than what Ripple was trying to do. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is what people say. Well, yeah, it's a logical thought, you know. If XRP got away with it, you know, then McCaleb did almost the same thing that XRP did, and it's almost the same technology, you know. So I think that's why people jump straight away on XLM.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah,
and it was quite low, the price, if you know, if you remember.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Because both of them were more or less aligned in terms of price before the actual crypto winter. Yeah,
that makes sense. Thinking about it, definitely. I thought it was possibly because of the connection there. It meant that people were generally thinking, well, this means that all cryptos in effect are not securities, even though that's not the case. But particularly with it being an ISO 20022, which means it's simply the way it structures the data is aligned with certain messaging standards around payments and that kind of thing. So it's going to be a new standard that the likes of Swift are going to be using.
Yeah, I'm sure it had an impact.
Yeah,
I think you're absolutely right. For sure, it's a combination of factors, and that was definitely one. You know, and the people were buying XLM before, they actually thought, and they look at the roadmap before, and they got in again, you know. And I actually think like 50% probably was the exchanges buying it back again, you know.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, that once they were relisting it, then in order to have liquidity, that they would need to forward buy some crypto, and that's why you'll have seen some of the prices going up anyway, because that will just be the exchanges building up their pools really in some way. So it kind of was a little bit artificial. Like it meant it was a sudden demand, which led to more demand, and so on. So that got quite crazy for a while. But I think it's around about 78 cents at the moment. So I get the feeling that if it does go to Supreme Court, you're going to see quite a price movement again. And then when there's a decision from that, there'll be another price movement. So it's a classic example of a market that is completely irrational in terms of how it behaves as well. So interesting times.
Indeed, I agree. I think we might see a lot more from the SEC, you know?
Yeah. Well, didn't they announce another case against Coinbase this week over something?
No, it was not Coinbase. It was Alex Machinsky and Celsius.
Against Celsius. I thought they announced something else against. I'll check in a moment. But I thought there was another case with Coinbase as well. Okay.
I know the Celsius one. The Coinbase I didn't see it, but Coinbase is a very interesting thing, you know. Because I think they will win. I am 100% that they will win against the SEC. Well, 100%, but you know what I mean, yeah? I'm fairly sure that they have a very strong case against the SEC, you know?
Yeah.
So they might even sue them. Well, actually, they counter-sue them, yeah? But I think they probably will do it for damages and all that. I think they're going to go big time on them.
Yeah, so there you go. You got... Coinbase's share price certainly rocketed up, but that was as a result of the XRP decision. So yeah, there's certainly lots of things happening in the space. Interesting, definitely. So anything else anyone wants to share? Any other news or anything?
Yeah, I think the more people already know more about the multi-coin stuff, you know. I don't know if you're aware of that.
So this was this was the Chinese project where is it the Chinese police detained the sister of the founder or something? Was that right?
I think he was found. He was detained as well, you know. And I think they had in possession a few billion worth of the tokens as well. So I mean, there's a lot of confusion out there. So that brought really the token right down to $2 or whatever it was, you know. I don't know what's the price today, 2.2, 2.3, whatever.
Okay.
So there's a lot of confusion, and that project was going quite well, to be totally frank, you know. So it's just crazy stuff, you know. But this has been going for a while, since May, you know. Nobody knew what the guy was, you know. I mean, if the people are really interested, just go and look at the news about Multicoin. There's a lot of stuff been written. People still don't know much about what happened.
Yep.
Yeah, the CEO arrested in China. Yeah. So
yeah. I remember it is multi-chain, not multi-coin.
yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Chain.
Yeah. And then
I'm tired.
it's very easy to mix them up.
You know, it's just I'm tired. I went to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, was working till very late, you know, needed to finish a few things.
You're just living the life, aren't you?
I have to.
Yeah, well, you're working on some exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So, Elena, you were looking interested a moment ago. Did you have a question or anything for us? Or are you just listening with intrigue?
I was doing my best to try to follow your conversation.
It's really easy. In the world of crypto, there are various regulators trying to regulate, and it's getting very confusing, and they need some clarity. The end.
Now it is simple.
Yeah, there is lots. And certainly, you know, I'm seeing stuff where regulators in the States, you've still got the SEC is trying to claim provenance around crypto. CFTC, which is commodities trading regulator, they're trying to claim that they look after crypto. Various others are as well. But the SEC is definitely the major litigation heavy regulator who's trying to prosecute all sorts of people for all sorts of reasons in order to put their stake in the ground as to looking after crypto. And then around the world, you've got like the UK, the FCA is kind of becoming a little bit more crypto tolerant is probably the best way of describing it, where they're trying to make sure that consumers are protected against risks and that kind of thing. And then in the Middle East, some of the crypto some of the finance regulators are being quite crypto supportive, particularly in the Gulf states. So Dubai, Abu Dhabi, I think Oman's recently published some stuff as well. So that they seem quite friendly. So there's all sorts of regulatory things going on, basically. So that was the quick summary of what we were going on about, which was the US Judge Torres trying to decide if something is a security, which in the USA there's certain regulations around what security is and what the rules are about actually issuing the security in some way. So fascinating stuff. Gabriella, you're just listening in the background there with interest, I guess.
Yes, I'm delighted to listen to you. To him, so thank you.
It's one of those things for everybody. I find this whole area fascinating, and there's so much going on. It's quite difficult to understand what a lot of it is. And sometimes if you go away and just go and read some of these stories, so read about Coinbase versus SEC, read against Ripple versus SEC, read about multi-chain and what's just happened in China, and you read a few articles, and then it starts clicking in your mind. You go, oh, I understand that now, and I understand the impact and that kind of thing. And then what you can do is, after you've read all that, you can come back next week and start asking questions and see if any of us know any more about it. So I don't know. We've got no one else joining us today. Has anyone else got anything else that they'd like to share?
I think a lot of people have gone today to Paris. You know,
it's the Ethereum conference, isn't it?
The Ethereum CC, and there's about 50 side events. I got 3 spreadsheets people send me with all side events, so I'm now trying to choose which ones I'm going to. It's crazy. So too much stuff, too much really, you know.
Yeah. Are you going out there this weekend?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I'm going tomorrow. It's 4 days. 4 days,
Okay.
Monday to Thursday. Really big, quite big actually. It's probably the biggest how should I say, crypto, digital asset, whatever you want to call it, conference, in Europe.
I was going to say for Europe, because in the States you've got Consensus, haven't you, which is probably the big one as well. So
yeah, you have Bitcoin Miami, you have Consensus. There's about 3 of them, you know.
Yeah.
Praga.
Sorry?
And Praga too, no?
Yeah.
Praga, was that?
But it's not very big, you know. Compared the main Bitcoin event is Bitcoin Miami, yeah.
Mhm.
And in Prague there's about 2 or 3 places that they do smaller versions, you know.
And in Madrid.
Yeah.
Well, Madrid had the blockchain conference last week, didn't they? As we say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so there are things happening everywhere.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Well,
And very quickly.
yeah. There's always things going on, and often you find out that something's happened after the event type thing. You think, I wish I'd have known about that. Oh, okay. Well, look, JT, what I suggest then is that if you join us next Sunday, if you've recovered, you can give us an update on all the exciting things that go on at ECC in France.
Mm-hmm. We'll do. Yeah, we'll do that. If I'm not, usually I come like dead without a voice, you know.
Yeah.
I always lose a voice when the conference are like 3 days. So this one is 4, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I'm really glad that it's not as hot as in Southern Europe, you know. I'm still going to reach 30 degrees there.
Okay.
It was a last minute decision because last year I didn't go. It was like people in Paris like 37 to 39. I'm like, nah. So I stayed in London. I canceled.
This week we have this Celsius 36, 37, and in Paris I believe is the same.
Mm-hmm.
No, 30. So tomorrow 25, Tuesday 30, and then it goes back to 28 all week. Usual temperature. So Paris is okay.
Check again because
you changed again. Oh my god!
Yes, because I'm in Spain, and in Spain will be almost 40 Celsius. So Paris will be the same, 35, 36. Check again.
Yeah,
just in case.
Yes, I will do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm checking, and it's 27 to 30, 27, 26. So it's okay. Paris is going to be good.
Be careful, but enjoy.
So I've been told that apparently it's all due to this weird phenomena called summer.
Actually, you know, I don't know if I sent you a link about the guy who founded Greenpeace.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I was already following him prior to you sending that.
Oh my god!
Because he's totally changed his perspective. He's very, very good insights, actually. Well recommended.
He's a top scientist, proper scientist, and he said, "Yeah, there isn't such thing as climate change." And I'm like, "What?" Actually, honestly, Gary, I was a true believer of climate change and so on. And then when I look at the guy, one of the top guys that really understands weather. You know, I'm like, oh my god.
Well, you probably know some of my background, so I'll argue that there is climate change, and the climate has always changed.
Of course.
So,
over millions of years.
Exactly right. Right, folks, it is time for us to finish then. So I'm going to call a close on that and say thank you everyone for coming along today. Gabriella, I hope that you found some useful things from that, some things to go away and check up on.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, do check me out on LinkedIn if we're not connected already. Elena, thank you as always for the insights and for digging out the details of those courses as well, which look really interesting with the University of Nicosia. I might have to go and register on 1 or 2 of them myself now. JT, thanks for the insights as always, much appreciated. And for everyone who's joining, thanks for sticking around. Click on the subscribe, like, even better. Come along to a future meeting. Have a great one, folks.
Thank you.
Bye
now.
Bye. Bye.